Hello again, and welcome to another exciting special broadcast of the DCHL Outsider podcast. We are joined here with today's guest. Introduce yourself, sir.
I am Jason Sticha. How is everyone doing today listening to this podcast? How are you doing, Joe Shea?
You don't have to answer out loud if you're listening at work or at home or anything like that. People might think you're a crazy person if you are going to be doing that. But I'm doing great, Jason. For those of you who do not know, Jason Stitch is the voice of the DCHL. We is one of the top streamers in the whole DCHL. We love the work that he does. He plays goalie on IPA as well as the Ugly Pucklings. He plays out on the Puck Mafia. And am I missing anything?
I'm actually playing in net for Puck Mafia this season.
Okay, so yeah, a little shake up there, so that's interesting.
Yeah, and I play out for High Rollers as well.
Yes, so. I got that at the end eventually. I eventually got there, Jay.
Oh, okay. When you play on like so many teams and then you're subbing so much, it's hard to keep track. I get it.
Oh yeah, and you're in net a lot, you're out a lot, you ref, you do it all. So, all right, let's get started talking about the Holiday Bash tournament. This was, I believe, your first tournament playing co-ed.
Yeah, my first tournament actually playing in the tournament. I don't know how many people are aware, but years ago I used to do play-by-play for the First Ladies every time that they would go to Holiday Bash or Beach Bash and stuff like that. Stopped a few years ago, but I never got the opportunity to play in a tournament. And so after a while of just sitting around waiting for a phone call that never came, I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to make my own team. And that's what I did. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I wanted to, Carolyn and I, we wanted to construct a team that liked playing together. We didn't go in with the mindset of putting the most, we wanted to be competitive, of course, but we wanted to go in with the mindset not of taking the most superstar players or anything like that, but taking the players that we liked, not just playing hockey, but outside of hockey as well. And so that was our philosophy going forward. And it was the first tournament for a lot of the people on the team. Only about 5 people on the team had ever played in a cool hockey tournament before. And so we went in there knowing that we were going to be underdogs, knowing that we probably wouldn't even get a win. But we wanted to just go out there, have fun, kind of learn from the experience. And that's exactly what we did. And it was such a blast. And we're already planning for the next tournament. So our team was not a lacrosse team, Nault. We represented Maryland, and I think people got kind of a kick out of the nickname. At first they were like, well, what is that supposed to mean? But then we actually spelled it out on the shirt. So then people were like, oh, that's clever. At least some people told me. At least some people told me they thought it was clever. I don't know if they actually thought it was clever, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, cool. You put some thought into it, so we'll give you credit where it's due.
Okay. So that being said, what did you I don't know if you're hearing any music in the background. What did you I'll have to edit that out. What did you learn from the tournament?
I don't hear any music. What are you bumping some Limp Bizkit back there, Joe Shea? Are you channeling your inner preteen or something?
Well, anytime I get to talk to you, it's a real party. So if there's gonna be a party, we might as well have some music accompanying it.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
So what were the biggest takeaways from the tournament?
Just the physicality of it and the speed of it. A lot of the people on our team play in like D3 or D4 on Sundays, or rec division on Wednesdays. So Carol and I, we tried to coach up the team and say, look, like this is going to be a level far above what you're normally used to. So try to match that. Always run. Basically run as hard as you can on your shift, give it your all every time and then come right off. You can't really afford to kind of take it easy and like kind of save your energy for the next shift. You kind of have to keep going all out as long as you can, as hard as you can to have any shot. So and quite frankly, I know that I heard it, through the grapevine and everything like that, but I know some people were kind of skeptical of the team that we brought to the tournament. But quite frankly, a lot of these players on the team play in the lower divisions by choice, either because it's convenient for their schedules, their work schedules, or family life, or such like that. And a lot of these players, if they had the opportunity, could play in the higher divisions, D3, D2, stuff like that. So I didn't have any concerns about the players being able to match that physicality and that speed. And I think they did a great job. It was our first tournament. We didn't score a single goal, unfortunately, though we had multiple opportunities. One of our own players did score a goal, but it was on ourselves, so that was a little unfortunate. But hey, these things happen. But we wanted to get a sense of how the Suds equivalent of like a D1 or above D1 level talent played, and kind of how we could go up against that and how we would fare, because a lot of us have been playing hockey for a long time, but we've been playing hockey in the divisions to where we're not going to get any better unless we play against higher level competition. And so I think this was an eye opener for some of us, not in a bad way, actually in a good way of, hey, we can hang, we can hang a little bit, and, with more and more practice, I think we'll be able to go to these tournaments and do a pretty good job. But like, players to call out, like Jenny Olkowitz, she played extremely well. She's a player that normally plays in a rec in D4. And I mean, she played, quite frankly, at a D2 level, I felt like. Melissa Keach, Aubrey Keach, Austin Keach, and we had all three Keaches. They wanted to give us they were like, can we get an all Keach line? But I was like, I don't know if that's going to work out with the positioning, because some people play offense, some people play wing, center, or defense, or whatever. So we had to balance things out as best we could. But they played great. Richard Chin was a monster on defense. When he heard that tournament rules allowed him to slide, his face lit up, like visibly like a kid on Christmas. He was like, oh, we can slide? Oh, this is amazing. I'm going to keep sliding every chance I get. So, I mean, it was fun to like kind of let him loose in that regard. I tried to slide in the third game and did it completely wrong. I slid right into the boards, didn't make contact with the ball at all. So I will not be sliding in future tournaments. I will just be sticking to what I know, which is running fast and shooting wide on the net. So they play great. Carolyn, as always. I mean, Carolyn shut you down a couple times in our game against you guys.
Yeah, she picked my pocket, and then about 9 seconds later did it again. So I mean, Carolyn's a very good player in Rockville, and she showed that she can do it on the bigger stage. I mean, I'm not the cat's meow, so I mean, beating scrubs like me is what she does every day. So just saying.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we walked away from this tournament earning some respect. I think my hope, anyway, is that as we return to Sundays and Wednesday nights in Suds' league in the DCHL and MDHL, that players in higher divisions are going to look at us and take us a little bit more serious and say, hey, you know what, you guys, you held your own. We lost every game 6-0 in the tournament, and so you might immediately look at that and be like, oh, well, they got blown out or they got destroyed or anything. But the fact of the matter is, and you can attest to this because we played your team, they had to earn every one of those goals. There weren't, to my knowledge, any breakaway goals or 2-on-1 goals. It was a hard fight in front of the net or a fancy deke move around someone that led to a high glove opportunity or something like that. So, I mean, the goals that every team scored on us were earned. It wasn't a result of, just us being way above our heads on the competition level. I think it was just, I think once teams started to notice that we weren't going to back down and we were going to keep playing hard no matter what, I think they took us a little bit more seriously. And that's really, at the end of the day, what I was hoping for. Other players I want to single out too. Christe Lodge and Kristen. I'm going to butcher this last name. Mundanendo. I'm sorry, Kristen. I apologize for butchering your name.
I'm sure she's listening.
But I mean, they joined the team pretty late. We had a couple spots to fill, particularly women's spots, and I was surprised that neither of them got picked up for a co-ed team. When I messaged them and was like, hey, you guys still looking for a spot? And they told me yes. I was quite frankly shocked because they're outstanding players. And the fact that no other co-ed teams picked them up was to me borderline criminal. So, but I was happy to have them. We were happy to have them on our team. They played great. And they were just super nice about everything. And I'm really glad they joined the team. We also picked up Kevin Perlow, who plays in seminary in Alexandria. And we picked up Tom Lippincott. He was a player who lives in Pennsylvania. He stepped in on us for defense as well. So, a lot of people from the area, but some people who don't play in these leagues and who would be listening to these podcasts. So everyone came together. It was hard to get chemistry down. And, as you know, Joe, you got to play together, 5 or 6 of these tournaments before the chemistry really starts to build together. But I think by the end of it, we had a rhythm going. Our third game was by far our best game. We had a lot of quality chances. And if that goalie was even a little bit off, we would have had, and I'm not even kidding you, like at least 3 goals. It was that close of, and that's the other thing about these tournaments that we learned is that the goalies are always on point. Jason Boyd, he was our goalie. He must have stopped about 250 shots in the tournament, and I'm not even kidding you. And that's not a mark against our defense. That's just the fact that when you go into these tournaments, everyone's playing at the top level, and Jason Boyd rose to the occasion. And so I cannot heap enough praise on him for the job he did in net, because I've been there as a goalie, when you're facing so many shots and high quality chances, and it feels like the ball's in the zone for 5 minutes, even though it's only been 1, but it feels like 5. You can easily get frustrated as a goalie, but Jason the entire time was super cool, super calm, collected, never had a bad thing to say about anything. And so, my hat's off to him. He really showed that he's a D1 level goalie. He's another guy that I don't think plays too often in the upper divisions because of availability issues, but he absolutely can, and he proved that in this tournament. Anyone who saw him play in net knows that now.
Well, to piggyback on that, Jason, Jason Boyd does play D1 on Wednesdays for the Crease Crashers, won the championship last season with the Crease Crashers, MVP of the game, played out of his mind. So I agree. Jason's a top-notch goaltender, and it was good to see him put in overtime and double overtime and triple over. He made a billion saves. Jason played amazing. Jason did a really good job. So.
Yeah. And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't think anyone knows this, so let me put this out there. We had another player on defense who was basically supposed to be our ringer. We picked him up. He does not live in the area. He's another guy who lives in Pennsylvania, apparently. He no-showed on us. And so that kind of threw everything into chaos. We had to completely redo our lines. We had Sammy Berkeley, who played great in the tournament. She very much wanted to play offense, and we had to put her on defense, at least for the first 2 games, because this guy didn't show up at all. I texted him multiple times, and he just, for whatever reason, I don't know what happened, but he just didn't show up. And so that immediately, talk about coming into a new tournament environment, having never played in this type of environment before, and then the guy who you're expecting to be the anchor of your defense doesn't even show up or even bother to tell you he's not showing up. You can probably imagine how much of a disappointment that was. But we rebounded, we stuck with it. We stayed positive, and we still had fun. And at the end of the day, that was our goal, was let's go out here. Let's have fun. Let's not get in any drama about anything. It was great. And, in addition to the hockey, we played board games in the hotel room. We ate a lot of
board games, Jason, we're talking board games now.
Oh, what board? Well, so I don't know if you noticed, but there was a board game convention in Philadelphia the same weekend, this past weekend. So the Austin Keach, actually, he actually went to the board game convention before coming to the hotel room, and then on Sunday, because we didn't have any games left, he went back to the board game convention. So he brought a whole bunch of board games. I'm not sure what everyone played, because I had some other stuff I needed to take care of. So when I came into the whole board game playing thing, we were playing a thing called, I think it was Codenames or Code Phrase or something like that.
Codenames.
Yeah, Codenames. It was a lot of fun. And so for those who don't know the object of the game, you basically have to, there's a board full of cards that are arranged in a specific manner, and each team is divided into a red and blue team. And, one person is a clue giver, and you have to kind of like give 1-word clues that corresponds to the words on the cards. And you have to kind of pick the correct ones based on your color. I'm probably butchering the explanation because this was the first time I've ever played the game before, but it was a ton of fun. And it was just, it's another example of those team bonding activities. I know a lot of people at the tournament, they go out and drink and party and everything like that. And we certainly did some of that too. But we also wanted to kind of, chill out and relax and kind of, we played 3 games on Saturday. So by the end of it, we were just dead. So we wanted to do stuff that was deliberately low key, but still like fun.
Okay, man. Let's get back to our regularly scheduled DCHL podcast. I could talk about board games forever. So
I really could. If you've never played a game
Austin's
called,
big into board games.
Yeah, he's big into board games apparently. Carolyn and I are also big into board games. We have games like Labyrinth. We have Drop Mix, if you've ever heard of Drop Mix. We have, we have all the classics, of course, the Monopolies and the Jengas and, all that stuff. I don't know if Jenga actually counts as a board game, but I will for purposes of this podcast. We've got a ton of board games. I can't even name them all because every time there's like a board game sale, we're looking at, do we have this one yet? Do we want to get this? Do we want to get this expansion pack? Cards Against Humanity, that's another one that I will include in the board game category, even though it's a card game technically. I'm trying to get into Magic the Gathering. I'm having a little trouble with the rules and such, but I'm learning. Are you a Magic guy, Joe Shea?
In one of my past lifetimes, I was a Magic the Gathering guy. So.
Okay, so I shouldn't play against you then. All right, got it. Yeah. But yeah, so board games are a big deal to us, but hockey is a bigger deal. So let's talk about hockey, as you said.
Some more hockey, yeah. So good tournament experience. Glad you had a good time. Hopefully, the next tournament you have more blast, more team building, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so you guys did very well in the tournament too, from what I hear.
We did. We did well, and that was cool. But this is not about any other team or any other person except the voice of the DCHL, Jason Sticha. So let's get.
Too kind. There are many voices. It's like it's like a cacophony of birds. It's.
But all right, Jason. So we are looking at the start of the new DCHL season. I'm gonna go take a streaming approach here. You were very instrumental in getting all the streaming stuff going, doing all the championship games. People wanted more, so we expanded. We're doing the streaming now.
Yeah, and you've done a great job of it. You've really taken the reins, Joe, and I think the product is better for it. So well done to you, my friend, because you've really it's basically, it seems like a full-time job. It's probably not, but it seems like you've taken on a full-time job here. So well done.
It's very easy to be boss and get people better than you to stream games. So I've been killing it in that regard. So what, in terms of streaming, what would you like to see moving forward? Like what is one thing we could do to help the DCHL streaming product?
Oh, man, putting me on the spot here, Joe Shea. I thought this was going to be just like a lot of softball questions here, and now you've given me a curveball here. All right.
We can put it on hold.
No. Here's the thing: you've already kind of advanced the product from what it was. Before, when I was doing it a lot more than I am now, because I've had to scale back. It was just me with like a handheld camera. And it would take Suds about a year and a half to put the videos up on YouTube. So, people enjoyed the product, but it wasn't to the level that it is now. I mean, you started live streaming, which is something that I never would have thought to do. You can now interact with people during the live stream with comments and emojis and stuff like that. I think during my last live stream, I was hitting like the wave button, and I didn't understand what I was doing, but I was like, whatever, I'll try it anyway. I'm approaching the age now, Joe, where it feels like I'm no longer up on the newest technology. I don't know if you feel similarly, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, this is a thing now. Okay, I don't think I want to actually be a part of this thing. Like the Instabooks or the Snatograms or whatever. I have a Twitter, which I hardly ever use, and I have a Facebook, of course, and that's about it. And that's about the extent of my social media footprint, because I'm never going to do anything else, I don't think. So I feel like an old man. I know there are plenty of people in the league who would disagree. But it's getting to the point now where I can't keep up anymore.
No,
But
I
with the
hear you.
stream, with the streaming, I think it's already great. Perhaps maybe the one thing that could be improved upon is just getting more people repetitions. I mean, the hardest thing for me was learning everyone's names, and it took me a lot longer than you might think. But when I was at the, we'll say, the height of my power, right? I knew almost every single name in the DCHL, which was about 300 people strong at the time. I know much less names now because I forget and because I have to be reminded 18 times. But such is life. So just getting people repetitions and the names, and the one thing I've noticed too is that if some streamers, if they don't know someone's name, they're reluctant to say what they're doing in the play. And my recommendation to any new streamers out there is to just use generic terms. Say the winger brings it up the boards, or a great play by the defender. Using generic terms like that will really help you get into a rhythm, and that way you're not focused on the specifics. Because let's be honest, I mean, people watch the streams and they want to hear their name, but not everyone. You're not going to be able to get every name out there because especially in the higher divisions, the play moves so quickly. It's hard to be like, Jake Ruby up the boards, passing it back to center, and then it gets to be too much too quickly. So taking a deep breath and kind of just keeping it general will allow people to get into a rhythm. So that's my advice to any streamers out there. But everyone we have on staff is doing a great job. And, just like in hockey, just like playing goalie, you need repetitions to really be good at the position. You also need repetitions to get good at play-by-play and color commentary. And so the more that happens, the better people will become. But I think people are doing a great job.
Well, that's great. I completely agree that the people who are doing it are awesome. They're doing a great job. We love it. If you're interested in streaming, let us know. We would love to have more people stream, more games, all that stuff. It's easy to do, fun, easy to set up. There's no worries, and even if you're bad at it, we'll just permanently delete it from all things of saving. So, Jason, we are going into our power play with Jason Sticha right now. We're going to do rapid fire 2-minute questions. I want the first thing that comes into your mind.
Potatoes.
Oh, no. Let me ask the questions first, Jason. Come on.
Oh, okay. Oh, we hadn't started yet. Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of potatoes here, so we're on the same page. All right. So we know that you are a Chicago boy. So I'm guessing some of these answers I can probably guess already. So Jason Sticha, your 2 minutes begins now. What is your favorite hockey team?
The Blackhawks.
Favorite all-time Blackhawk?
Patrick Kane.
I hate Patrick Kane so much.
Actually, no, I want to change that. Corey Crawford. I'm sorry.
Good man. What's your favorite style of pizza?
I'm gonna be kind of exiled out of my hometown, but just the regular style of pizza. I don't know what New York style. I don't know.
Okay, New York style. Okay, I was gonna end this interview short, but you're gonna allow me to keep this going here. What is your favorite fruit?
Favorite fruit? I don't know. The tasty kinds. I don't know. This is rapid fire. All right, just go.
Yeah. Okay. What is your favorite utensil? Fork, knife, or spoon?
A spork.
All
No,
right,
I'm kidding. It's a fork. It's a regular old everyday fork.
Okay. When is the last time that you played a sport outside of hockey?
Couple years ago, I suppose.
What was it?
Interestingly enough, I think it was actually soccer. Not a serious soccer game, but like a let me embarrass myself sort of deal, which I did in front of everyone. So that was nice.
Okay, what hand do you shoot with?
My right hand.
Okay, and you play goalie normal as well, left hand glove, right hand blocker?
Yep. Though some days I feel like I should just tie the glove behind my back because it's not doing me any good. But
what's your favorite video game?
The Assassin's Creed series.
Okay, what was your all-time favorite Halloween candy? I always ask this Halloween candy question. I don't know why. I love Halloween and Halloween candy.
Reese's. I mean, I've always loved Reese's peanut butter cup.
Good man right here. That's good. And give you one final question. You can take all the time in the world on this one. What is your best DCHL hockey moment?
Oh, man. It's kind of a tie for me. The first one comes to mind. I was playing in Rec Division. This was years ago when we were the Greenback Boogies, and Andrew Kramer was still playing in Rec, if you can believe it.
My
But
God,
yeah,
how times have changed.
the game was streamed. It's still up on the YouTube page somewhere, I think. But Daniel Ruberg was also on the team, and Daniel had passed to me in the neutral zone. Somehow it went right to my stick blade. I split the defenders and was able to hit a top shelf past. I don't remember who the goalie was at the time, but I was able to hit a top shelf in it, and it almost became the game-winning goal, but I think about 2 minutes left, the other team had tied it up. But then we ended up winning anyway. We ended up getting another goal. But so scoring a playoff goal in a championship game was awesome. And also on top of that, and along the same vein, I think it was 2 seasons ago. You probably remember this, Joe, when IPA was in the championship and it went to a shootout. And I had not been able to play in the overtime period, and I was very upset at Heath Kalmanson. And so when the shootout came, I was like, let me take the shot, Heath. Let me take it. I got this. And I was probably a little ridiculous about it, but such is life. And I had went up to the ball. The rest blew the whistle, and I walked. I walked all the way up to about midway between the goalie and center, and I just let it rip, and I ended up scoring, and that ended up keeping us alive. And I think Nick Mosier on the next round ended up burying it and giving IPA the championship victory. But scoring a shootout goal in a championship game, I actually think it's not a tie anymore. After thinking about it, that is my favorite moment. I mean, that's also on video somewhere, but I don't think it's been released because Suds is about 3 years behind now on that.
So in that IPA game, who did they beat in the championship? Out of curiosity.
I want to say it was Goonies. It might have been Zambronis. The Stingrays had gotten knocked out, I think, a round prior. So I don't think it was Stingrays, but it was either Goonies or Zambronis. I want to say it was Goonies because I think Jeff was in that, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, it could have been Goonies or the predecessor to the Goonies team.
Yeah, but like I said, it was one of those moments where, it's like, this is going to sound super pretentious or ridiculous, but it's like Babe Ruth calling a shot. It's like, like calling the home run. It's like I told Heath, I was like, I got this, I'm gonna score. And I think everyone was like, okay, you're not a great shooter, but if it'll get you to stop complaining about not playing in the overtime, then we'll let you have it. And so it's good when those sorts of things work out. It makes me look smarter than I actually am.
Well, you did call it, and you did get the championship win right there. So with all that being said, I want to go back to the, this isn't whatever. I'm a major fan of the way you took that shootout goal. You went up there. I see so many players just run and go fast, and they run straight. They don't really go with a plan. And when they do that, so many of them just lose the ball. So like the fact that you took your time, you relaxed. You held your composure, and then you found your opening and scored. Like that's the correct way to take a shootout goal, at least a shootout shot, in my opinion. And I mean, and you got the result you wanted too. So that was really good. I was always really impressed with the way you did. 'Cause I remember I was either reffing that game or streaming it or something. It was really good. So that's actually a great moment. That's solid, man.
I've been on both sides of a shootout, having played goalie and having played out in this league for so long, and I think you're absolutely right. A lot of players just want to go fast, and especially the players who do have great stick handling skills. I find that more often than not, when they're running toward the goalie, they'll lose the ball because they're looking up at me and not actually like focusing on the ball because they assume that they can handle it. And so that happens quite a bit. And just, obviously the quicker you go towards the goalie, the less space you actually have to shoot at the net. So by just kind of going slowly about it, you make the goalie nervous. Again, I've been on both sides of this. Whenever someone is coming slowly, it makes me more nervous because I'm like, all right, what are they actually going to do? What's their plan here? And then I start to overthink things, and then things go downhill quickly from there. So yeah, I've always been a fan whenever I've taken shootout goals of kind of taking my time, and I know it annoys some people, but it's my strategy, and I'm sticking to it.
It's probably a lot better to shoot on an annoyed goalie than one who's calm and ready. So.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, Jason, you have IPA next season, that team is looking a little loaded. Let's be honest here. There were some major acquisitions here. I don't want to keep you too long, but I want to talk about this new look IPA team. So you got a couple additions. Do you want to spill the beans, or should I?
You go ahead and spill the beans because I'm actually not a captain on that team, so I don't know who you picked up or haven't picked up. But this is news to me too.
Well, there we go. So IPA is getting the better half of the Kelmanson clan. Jess Kelmanson will be back.
Oh, great.
IPA.
Yeah, it's good to see Jess returning to hockey.
Yeah, you take a little time, you have a couple cute kids, and now she has to go back and keep Heath in line and cool his jets. So that'll be a huge pickup. You are also picking up Jonathan Cintron. He's
okay.
And Jonathan is a very good player. He did very well in the last tournament. He's also playing D1 with the Mercury Rising team, which is a great pickup. So I think that it really does go a long way to show how D3 has grown, and the skill level of D3 is getting closer and closer to D1, as every season passes. So, those are some pretty good pickups right there for IPA. But you want to know what? You're not done yet. You are getting AJ from the Youngbloods team. AJ scored some big goals for Youngbloods in the playoffs. Solid player in the regular season. Good two-way guy. Scores a lot of goals. So IPA is picking up some much-needed scoring right there, and AJ, really solid. So that is pretty sweet for IPA. But wait, there's more.
There's more.
You guys,
and a brand new car.
Better than a brand new car. You guys are also getting Curtis, who plays a lot on Wednesdays here. Going to be making either a debut or a return to Sundays. I'm not sure which. Again, more goal scoring at IPA right here. So this will definitely help. It'll help the front line right there for IPA, and hopefully give you some leads where you can just sit back and protect the lead. So that will be a pretty interesting IPA for the next upcoming season. And that's really the only team that's really making any drastic moves beyond the All Blacks joining D3. So what do you think about your new teammates here?
I love it. Love the acquisitions. Love the pickups. IPA's problem in my opinion the last few seasons, even in the season that we won the championship, was just people not showing up for whatever reason because it didn't align with their schedules or anything. So we've got players like Carlos and Heath and Brad and Natalie and stuff like that, and they just, for whatever reason, we couldn't get everyone together on any given week. So we'd have to pick up subs, and then chemistry was thrown out of whack and everything. So I'm excited that these guys are going to come to the team, and I anticipate that they will show up regularly. And I think we're going to surprise some people. I mean, I think for the last two seasons here, IPA has kind of been the underdog in D3 division, if you will. So yeah. I know last season the Stingrays had kind of a downturn for whatever reason, but I look for IPA to come back. I feel good about this season, and I feel good too about being in net, because the championship season I was playing out for the team. Patrick Lair was in net for us. Yep. So now that this will be, I think, my second or third season in net for IPA, I'm really looking forward to it. So anytime I can just sit back and protect a lead is a good time for a goalie. So I welcome that change for sure.
Yeah. I mean, one last thing on D3, I feel like it's in this awkward time where, it's not morning, it's not night, it's in that middle ground, and some players are going to struggle to make some of the earlier ones or some of the later ones, and that's definitely one of the rougher parts of the division. But I think going to 6 teams is going to stabilize a bit more. I think the additions that some of the teams have made is going to go a long way. So yes, I am excited to watch the new look IPA. And you can also catch Jason and the aforementioned High Rollers. You can catch him on Wednesdays playing for the Puck Mafia, and the Ugly Pucklings' playoffs start this upcoming Wednesday. But beyond that,
tomorrow.
Yes, they
playoffs
do.
Start. So
most importantly, catch Jason streaming games here, because he does an amazing job here, and we love the streaming here at DCHL Leagues. So Jason, Go for it,
I'm
baby. What
no
do you got?
Joe B, but I do my best. So,
So, all right, man. I'm gonna let you get going. What are your parting final thoughts? Let's see what you got.
I love the league. I love ball hockey. I mean, I have when I came to this area, to the DC area in 2012, I was still in the Navy, of course, and didn't really know anybody. Didn't have friends I knew from the Navy because everyone was kind of either East Coast or West Coast, and so coming from the West Coast and I came from San Diego to here, and I didn't know anybody. Didn't know what to do in the area. I looked online at a couple of places, and I was like, I don't know anything about DC other than doing the Monuments tour, and stuff like that. And I found this league through Meetup, and I haven't looked back. And I don't know if people even still use Meetup anymore, but that's how I found out about this league. And I haven't looked back. And there are things in this league that I being an official, I don't always agree with everything, but I always love the fun that I have every week. And I know that sometimes I give the refs a little more trouble than they deserve, especially because I'm also a ref. So you'd think that we'd all be one big happy family, but frequently we're not. And that's okay because siblings love each other even if they fight, right? But I have never felt happier like on a consistent base week to week than I have while I am playing hockey. And a big part of that is due to the people. It'd be one thing if everyone was super cutthroat and stuff like that, but that's not the case. I mean, certainly some teams are more competitive than others, but by and large, every team I've been a part of, everyone I've interacted with has been just the nicest person ever. And so that's a big part of what Suds does. That's a big part of what you are doing, Joe, with these streamings, and you guys are making the league better every single season. And so thank you for that, and thank you all for listening to me ramble on. I've done like 90% of the talking in this segment, Joe. I'm sorry. I know I'm really listen. Anytime you ever want me to shut up, just let me know. Even if I'm in net and you're reffing and I'm giving you some crap, just tell me to shut up. You don't need to sugarcoat it. Just be like, Sticha, shut up, and I'll be like, oh, okay, you're right. Sometimes I respond to aggression better than I do niceness. I don't know why. I really don't. But maybe it's the Chicago part of me where I'm like, screw this cold and screw you too, right? So I don't know. You're from Buffalo, you get it.
Yeah, but I will say I also joined the league through Meetup as well. So I moved to the area too from Buffalo, and I didn't really know anyone, and I didn't necessarily have the social skills to go out and meet people. So the league really did feel like a huge gap that I had in my life, along the same vein that it kind of sounds like with you. So I'm really grateful that the league does kind of fill all these needs for community in friendship that so many people are looking for. So I'm really glad that it exists. I'm glad to help in whatever way I can, and I really appreciate the fact that you do the streaming stuff, and you've been so dedicated for so long, and people like you are what helps make the league grow and get better and just be an enjoyable place to begin with. So yeah, without getting too sentimental, man, I think that's a great.
You're making me tear up, man. I'm gonna cry now. No,
I know, but no, it's. I mean, I agree. It is. It's a good thing.
I think people forget sometimes. I mean, obviously the DC area is full of transplants, but I feel like most of the time when people come here, they've already got kind of an infrastructure, either through their work, through their job or whatever. I didn't have that. Even you'd think I would, being in the Navy, and the Navy is huge. And the Department of Defense is huge, but I didn't really have that, especially given the line of work I was in. And it sounds like you kind of had a similar situation. You come from Buffalo, which is a completely different place from here, and you kind of just have to find your own way. And so it can be difficult. It was for me. It took me 3 months to find this league through Meetup, and that was a terrible 3 months because I'm like, well, I'm gonna stay in my apartment and play some Assassin's Creed now, I guess. So, which is one of the saddest statements I think has ever been uttered on this podcast. But say la vie.
We will set the bar even higher for next week with the disappointing, sad comments. So, Jason, thank you very much, and make sure you catch Jason on the streams, catch him in his games, and we will catch you later.
Thanks a lot, Joe. See you later, everyone.
And thank you very much to Jason Sticha for joining us on the podcast. great insight on him. Great talking to him. Um, so yes, we had a bit of a recap there for Holiday Bash. We'll get into it a little deeper right now. So great weekend for the DC teams. The co-ed B final was DC Surge against Patrick Swayze. Two DC teams. Love seeing them in the finals. It means, we're doing really good. We're producing a lot of teams that are championship level, which is awesome. Shoutouts to Surge for winning it. Alex Ortiz with the game winner. Much love for him. We had the men's C division. The DC Phantoms were unstoppable. I believe they won the championship 8-1. It was a beatdown. They just dominated the division the entire time. So that was pretty awesome. So I'm really glad to see that the men's division is growing, developing a lot of players, some from seminary, some from Rockville. It's good. It's tricky, I mean, a lot of people playing Rockville and playing seminary, and I don't know if there's a rivalry or not, but sometimes it feels that way. So I hope that, I mean, if it were up to me, I would ideally just have all the players just put the best teams possible to represent DC as, one united front, so we would, possibly bring back some more trophies and all that, but, I think that people are getting better at that, and for the most part, we're getting better results as a DC community. Co-ed A Stars and Stripes made it to the finals, lost. Great run for them though. They were a 1 or 2 seed going in, so a lot of talent, a lot of potential. And we had the Stanley Cup Cakes A team win the women's A division. Shout out to Lindsay Migliore, who got the MVP. And I'm not gonna play favorites, but the one person who stood out this entire tournament, and any division you watched, hands down, the best player on the floor at all times seemed to be Taylor Stedman. She is, God, it's like the closest thing to a perfect player you will see. Amazing shot, great stick handling, great passing, insane hustle, toughness, which I got to see. I think some people got to see a little bit of toughness out of her. Back checking, shooting, passing. I mean, just everything. There's zero holes in her game. Like, that's the closest thing to a perfect player you will see. And it's such a pleasure to watch her dominate. And she did in Women's A. She did in co-ed. She just, anywhere she was just unbelievable. So, major shout-outs to her and everyone else who did well at the tournament. Hopefully had a great time. Cool. So, we got a lot going on right now this week. We'll go DCHL first. This was the first week of the season. Bit of an abridged week, only a few games. That's fine. So in these 5 games, a lot of the rec and D4 teams got their play. Slashing Pumpkins started the season out with a 6-2 win over the Street Sharks here. This was a game where, I don't know, I feel like the Sharks are still struggling to kind of find that identity, kind of see what's going on there. And Pumpkins are a team that, they're always going to be there, and when they're clicking, they're going to be good. And they were. Doug Simino, 2 goals, huge. Seth, goal and assist. Strong game for Pumpkins. John Chick, him and Lawrence both had the goals for the Sharks. 6-2, it's, first game of the season. Pumpkins coming out strong, good. Sharks, new team, new look, and we will see, we'll see what happens. It's hard to, lose your captain, lose all that stuff. Oh God, part of me just wants to share my thoughts on the whole Shark situation, but for the moment, I'm going to bite my tongue and take a bite out of that like the Sharks do. I'm stupid. So after that, we had the kind of new, not really new, I don't know, hard to say, the Gwendolyn Nightmare against the Hockey Dead. It's a Gwendolyn team. There's going to be some overlap between the team that had won the championship against the Hockey Dead in the finals last season, and this was a game. This is a game that should get a lot of people's attention. Gwendolyn got a hat trick from Tatum Lombardi, and that's pretty awesome right there. That is, I gotta believe, her first hat trick. I don't know how many goals she scored, but to score three is pretty damn sweet. I believe that's the first hat trick of the season right there. So for everyone who needs to know all the information, all the stats, all the trivia, that is your first hat trick, Tatum Lombardi. That is 6-2 Gwendolyn Nightmare right now. So when you get a lot of production from your female players, you are going to win your games. I mean, she dropped a hat trick. That's pretty impressive. So awesome, Gwendolyn Nightmare doing it up. We had Lucky Sevens Midnight Riders here. A couple of Midnight Rider players were out, so it might be a sub or two making it work. Beyond that, Lucky Sevens found themselves down early. Midnight Riders got a goal by Corey, but the uh, the freshman phenom on his sophomore season right now, Sam Shepard, natural hat trick, um, all three goals for the Lucky Sevens. They win 3-0. David with two assists for him, and Jason, their goaltender, with an assist on Sam's empty net goal. So that's three goals for Sam already right now. He I believe had 15 last season, so this is a good start for him. And speaking of good starts, we had the Flying Hellfish rebranded from the Shangri-La team. New look, new uniform, new jersey, all that stuff. And new mentality. Win against the Gwendolyn Gladiators. 5-2 win right here. A couple new players here going to try to make it work. Sepp Fraunhofer with a goal and 3 assists. Chad with 2 goals and 1 assist. And Jason Maxstein subbing again, getting another win. Jason seems to be doing a lot of winning lately in net. So that is pretty damn cool for them. So we'll see what happens with the Hellfish moving forward. But if this team can develop into a contender, I think the D4 division will be even better than last year, which is hard to say. Because last year, I mean, D4 is always the best division. Let's make it even better. Last game of the day, we had Crazy Eights versus the Stick Magnets right now. Crazy Eights get a goal from Frankie G. I mean, Frank scores so many goals. Like, that's unreal. He slips through the cracks like no one really, he doesn't really wow you. He just plays a very good, consistent game, gets a lot of goals, and I mean, Lucky Sevens, they look at Aaron and say, oh, we get Aaron, we got Sam, we got Frank. Frank's scoring a lot for the Crazy Eights. Excuse me, I keep saying Lucky Sevens. So Frank's doing a good job with that. So major props to him. Aaron Brown scores as well. But the Stick Magnets get 2 goals from Derek O'Halloran, 1 from Amy Bernetti, 1 Chris Bernetti, and 1 Chris Winkler here. There might have been a little hiccup on the stats. We're not sure, but holla Bills, y'all. Derek, again, is another player. Came up huge last season, scored a lot of goals, and led Hockey Dead and led Stick Magnets to championship games. Weren't able to finish, but Derek is still coming out strong right now. So we will see what happens. It's the first week. We'll see what happens. Got a whole lot of hockey to go, so we will see what happens. I'm just gonna keep saying we'll see what happens, and we will. So that's some DCHL stuff right there. Moving forward with DCHL stuff, I would absolutely love to have more people streaming, as always. Get more people involved in social media. We streamed all the games for the DCHL playoffs, including the championships. It was great. A lot of positive feedback, and we're getting new casters. Andy Markowitz is doing a little more often. Eric Tavener, Adam Marcus. We have Barb out there for a few games. Join in, be part of the community. It's so cool. So speaking of streaming all of the games for playoffs, MDHL playoffs coming up today if you're listening, and this is going to be a very, very good and exciting playoffs right now. Plan is to stream all the games again. Fingers crossed we can do it. If you're interested, help out, let us know. So we're going to go through the games last week just to close out the regular season, and then we will talk about the playoff picture. So Rogue One-Timers played Gwendolyn Black Knights. Black Knights end up getting a win right here. They get goals from God, I just keep saying his name, Frankie G in the house, Nick Franzen and Andrew Witt, Witt's End. is going to end that game here for the Black Knights. Sharon scored a power play goal for the Rogue One-Timers here. Sharon definitely developing talent, and glad to see her on the scoreboard. So Black Knights get that win. Excuse me. So we had Ugly Pucklings versus Green Monkeys. This was an ugly game for the Pucklings here as Bill Weeks does Bill Weeks stuff, 2 goals, 2 assists, and a couple bad bounces there for the Pucklings. It happens, but Green Monkeys definitely looking like the top team in the division after that kind of game. Blue Steel Blade Runners here. Blade Runners get Blade Runners get a goal unassisted by Simon Cantor. Blue Steel responds. Andy Gladfelter comes up huge for Blue Steel, ties up at 1-1. But in the remaining final minute of play, Patrick Noyes goes coast to coast for the Blade Runners to give them the win right there, and that will be 2-1 Blade Runners. We had some Puck Mafia Islanders action right here. Puck Mafia gets a goal by Chris Zupa. Tom responds for the Islanders, making it 1-1, but Dan Curtin dropping the curtain on this one. There's got to be an amazing pun for that. I know nothing about theater or anything like that. We're gonna get great puns for Dan, great hashtags. Curtains up, times up, curtains up. I'm gonna be quiet. So he comes up huge, and that's another win for the Puck Mafia here. They have been doing pretty well lately, so I think they're gonna start building some momentum, building their chemistry, and you never know in the playoffs. A team that gets hot can do anything. And the final game of the week, we had Lords of the Rink against the Barbarians here. There were a lot of subs both ways. Barbarians come up to an early 2-0 lead. Brian Keefe with a sweet wraparound goal, roofed it, looking like a superstar forward right there, even though he mainly plays defense. Kevin Stonecipher comes up huge with a second goal there, but we had some Lynn sanity here. Scott Lynn subbing in for Lords of the Rink. Unassisted goal from the point. Big shot from him. Carlos Cruz subbing in. Big goal from him. Ties it up too. And Kayla Dunn, back-to-back goals here, 2 goals to close it out, 4-2 Lords of the Rink. And if you wanna see the definition of a rising star right here, Kayla playing in D4, she's in D1 this season, and there's gonna be, I don't want to say some growing pains, there's gonna be an adjustment process, but she definitely has the talent and physical ability to get. I'm sorry, one was not an empty netter, one was a short-handed goal. Excuse me, regular and short-handed. It's 2 for her. But there's gonna be some growing pains for her, as there will be for players who make a jump like that. But I think she's ready. I think that there will be a lot of potential for her to grow and become a top player in the league. So I'm excited to see it. So regular season standings, finals for all this. We'll start with D1. TNT. I'm speechless. 4 goals allowed in 10 games. 9-0-1. That's dominance right there. TNT just unbelievable right there. So just for reference, their only tie was against Crease Crashers, 0-0. And speaking of Crease Crashers, they will be playing the Crashers at the 7:50 game. And Crease Crashers looking for an upset. You never know. But TNT is going to be the odds-on favorite to win the D1 division. You never know. But TNT looking good. In the tweener match, we got the Barbarians versus the Lords of the Rink here. This will be a strong match. They played last week, subs galore. But this week they'll both have a full squad, and we will see what happens in that 7 p.m. game. D2, we're having Green Monkeys and the Pucklings play. Ugly Pucklings, a little bit of a rough season, but, that being said, teams developing chemistry, getting used to the speed of D2, and you never really know what happens. Boris, captain of Pucklings right now, coming off a huge DC Surge win at Holiday Bash. Maybe he's got something under his sleeve and up his sleeve, excuse me. And we'll see what happens there. I think Green Monkeys are going to be favored a little bit, but you never really know. So I mean, if I'm making predictions, I'm going to abstain from TNT Crease Crashers. I'm going to just by default say Crease Crashers because that is my team. So. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Hope I'm right. Barbarians, Lord of the Rink. I like Lord of the Rink in this game. It was a strong team. The women on Lord of the Rink are unbelievable. Taylor and Kate just dominated at the Holiday Bash tournament. Taylor is coming back from an injury. The rest definitely did her well, and I think that she will be a game changer if the Lords of the Rink want to win that game. So I like Monkeys over Pucklings. And then we got a couple of rec games coming up. We have the Islanders and the Puck Mafia in a rematch from last week's 2-1 win for the Mafia right now. In the games they played, Puck Mafia has won both of them, 3-2 and 2-1. So, oh God, I feel like I like Puck Mafia just because I feel like this team. I don't know. There's something special about this team, and I can't sleep on them. I feel like they can make a really good run. The players are good, a lot of team chemistry. Oh God, it's like such a coin flip. I'm gonna go Puck Mafia just based on the past history. And speaking of rematches, we got Black Knights against Rogue One Timers. So all five of these games are rematches from last week or perhaps the week before. So One Timers against the Black Knights. Black Knights. This was a weird season for them. Uh, they went loss, win, 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 loss, 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 win, loss, win. Consistency. They're very streaky. So it depends on what Gwendolyn team you get to kind of help figure out how well you're going to do. So, good Gwendolyn should win, but if they're struggling a little bit, if they're missing a player or don't have that chemistry, they're playing cold. I like one timers. I mean, a lot of these games are really too close to call. It's a real testament to how well the MDHL balancing has gone. So I don't know. Those are my rough predictions on those games. So, all right. I would like to, for the new season of the podcast. I mean, I don't really know if they relate to the DCHL seasons or MDHL seasons, whatever. But I thought it would be really important to spend a couple minutes to talk about some things that I see on the floor that newer players or inexperienced players or players that do want to get better, that they can, maybe get a couple tips every week to maybe focus on their game or see what they can improve on or things like that. I think I don't know, it's a cool idea for me. I don't know if people think it's stupid, let me know, or if people have, other advice or suggestions. Let's do some awesome segments and help the league and the community and get players develop and all that. So this week I would like to talk about what I think is one of the, probably hands down, one of the most important things you will do in sports, probably the most important thing. It is not panicking. You have to. So in the context, I'm going to talk about a forward defender who gets the ball. All too often, I see newer players when they get the ball, their first instinct is to whack it down the floor, to try to, maybe if you get the ball, throw a shot on net, to not take your time, and that's a huge, huge problem. It's very important that when you get the ball, I mean, ideally before you get the ball, when the ball is being passed to you, that you look up and see where other people are. If no one's around you, you have time. If you see someone on you, maybe you need to whack that ball down there, throw it off the boards, and maybe try to chip it past them and run. That's fine. Maybe you need to dump it down the ice, get a line change. But if you can look up before that ball gets to you, you'll be able to see where you're at relative to everyone else. If you can do a quick glance at the floor, being able to do that will ideally make you feel more confident with it. Hey, no one's around me. I can carry the ball for 2, 3 seconds. And being able to do that will allow your teammates to reposition themselves to get open. And taking time with the ball and gaining space, going from your end to their end, even 5, 10 feet, it goes a long way because that's more control that you have, and that's more onus on the other team to respond. So if you're a newer player listening, or say you've been playing for a while and you want to reevaluate your game, or hey, how can I get better? Just think, when you're playing, hey, when I get the ball, what can I do with it to hold on to it longer? Can I take a couple steps? Can I try to stick handle a little bit? And the more you do that, the more confidence you will get with the ball. It'll make you a better stick handler, make you a better passer, better shooter, because you're not just following your first instinct of, I got the ball, holy crap, let me get rid of the ball. And, if you do that, I think that a lot of players will definitely benefit from this. As always, there's a lot of experienced players in the league, a lot of great players. You talk to them, say, hey, when you get the ball, you're definitely confident with the ball. You make good decisions. hey, you got a great shot. How do you do that? Ask more experienced players, and I think a lot of people would be interested in helping out newer players or helping people get better because I mean, again, at the end of the day, like I said earlier, it's all about building the community, making people better, and is it a rising tide lifts all boats? I think that's the idiom. I'm not sure, but when everyone gets better, the DC hockey community will improve, and we'll see more success in co-ed A and women's A and women's B and all these teams. And maybe we'll have a DC team do well in the men's AB division or the Open division, and we'll have more co-ed going on, and it's if you want to develop in a region, maybe down the line we'll have you know all these teams that they're gonna knock out Philly and New York and Boston and all these teams, and it would be great. So, I mean, I don't know. Again, stupid segment maybe, I don't know, a little thing, but remember, if you get the ball, patience with it, and to be blunt, you're gonna give the ball up, and every time you give the ball up or every time you carry it, you're going to learn a little bit more. You're going to build up those reps and the experience that will help you become a better player. So, fingers crossed it works. Hopefully you do it and you feel more confident with the ball. It'll help enjoy hockey more because you'll maybe be a little cool, calm, and collected, and you'll be able to contribute more to your team. So, I mean, as always, if anyone has any questions or wants advice or whatever, ask a good player, and if you can't find them, ask me. So, on that note, let us prepare for an awesome DCHL new season. Let us get pumped for MDHL playoffs. And let us be very happy that a lot of the DC teams were able to travel, go to big tournaments, and win some championships. It's good for everyone, good for the morale. So even if you won or you didn't win, hopefully you had a great time and built bonds and help build the DCI community. I am rambling, so have a great day, and we will see you at the rink.